Lesson 1, may I introduce myself?
Hi Anna, I don't think we've officially met before. My name is John. May I introduce myself?
Of course, it's nice to meet you, John. My name is Anna.
Nice to meet you too, Anna. So, what do you do for a living?
I work in marketing. How about you?
I work in finance. What are some of your hobbies and interests?
I love hiking and spending time outdoors. I also enjoy reading and trying new restaurants. How about you?
I'm an avid runner and I love playing basketball. I also enjoy traveling and trying new foods.
That's great. Where is your favorite place that you've traveled to?
I recently went to Japan and it was amazing. The food, the culture, everything was just incredible.
That sounds amazing. I've always wanted to visit Japan. What's your favorite Japanese dish?
I love sushi. There's just something about the combination of fresh fish and rice that I can't get enough of.
I love sushi too. Do you have a favorite sushi restaurant in town?
Yes, there's a great sushi place downtown that I always go to. Have you been there before?
No, I haven't. I'll have to check it out sometime. So, what do you like most about your job?
I enjoy the challenge of working with numbers and finding creative solutions to financial problems. It's always rewarding when I'm able to help a client achieve their financial goals.
That sounds really interesting. I can imagine that it requires a lot of skill and attention to detail.
Yes, it definitely does. But it's also a lot of fun and I enjoy the sense of accomplishment that comes with a job well done.
That's great to hear. I feel the same way about my job in marketing. I love being able to use my creativity to come up with new ideas and strategies.
Yes, marketing can be a really exciting and dynamic field. What's the most interesting campaign that you've worked on recently?
We recently launched a new social media campaign that was really successful. It was all about highlighting the unique features of our product and showing how it can make people's lives easier.
That sounds really cool. I'm always impressed by how creative and innovative marketing can be.
It definitely takes a lot of creativity and hard work, but it's also really rewarding when you see the results of your efforts.
Absolutely. And it's great to be able to use our skills and talents to make a difference in the world, no matter what field we work in.
I couldn't agree more. It's always fulfilling to know that we're making a positive impact, no matter how small it may be.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you better and learning more about your experiences and insights. It's always great to connect with new people and broaden our perspectives.
I feel the same way, John. It's always refreshing to meet new people and learn from their experiences and opinions.
Well, it's been great talking with you, Anna. Let's stay in touch and continue the conversation soon.
Definitely, John. It was nice meeting you and I look forward to talking more in the future. Lesson 2. Earning money online.
Hey Anna, have you ever thought about earning money online?
Yeah, I've been interested in finding ways to make money online. But I'm not sure where to start.
Well, there are actually a lot of options available. Have you considered freelance work or starting your own online business?
I've thought about freelancing, but I'm not sure what skills I have that would be valuable to clients.
You'd be surprised. There are many freelance opportunities available in areas like writing, graphic design, social media management, and virtual assistants.
That's interesting. And what about starting an online business?
That's another option. You could start an online store and sell products or services, or create your own digital products like ebooks or courses.
That sounds like a lot of work. How would I get started?
Well, it takes a bit of research and planning, but there are many resources available online to help you get started. You could also consider taking an online course or finding a mentor to guide you.
Okay, I'll look into it. But what about other ways to make money online?
You could also consider taking surveys, participating in online focus groups, or becoming a product tester.
That sounds interesting. And what about affiliate marketing or sponsored content?
Yes, those are also options. You could earn money by promoting products or services through your blog or social media channels.
That could be a good fit for me since I enjoy writing and social media. But how do I make sure I'm promoting ethical and trustworthy products?
It's important to do your research and only promote products and services that align with your values and that you believe in. You could also disclose any sponsored content to your audience.
That makes sense. And what about online tutoring or teaching?
That's another option. You could offer your expertise in a subject and teach others online through platforms like Udemy or Teachable.
That could be a good fit for me since I have experience teaching. And what about online coaching or consulting?
Yes, that's also a possibility. You could offer your expertise in a specific area like business or health and wellness, and work with clients online.
These are all great ideas. And it's nice to know that there are so many options available for earning money online.
Yes, it's definitely a growing industry. But it's important to remember that earning money online takes time and effort, just like any other job or business.
Absolutely. And it's important to have a plan and be consistent in order to succeed.
Exactly. And with the right mindset and strategies, you can definitely make a living online.
Lesson 3. How to get to the nearest supermarket.
Hey Anna, do you know how to get to the nearest supermarket from here?
Yeah, it's just a few blocks down that way. You take a right at the next intersection and it should be on your left.
Oh, great. Thanks for letting me know. Do you want to walk or take a taxi?
I think it's close enough to walk. It's a nice day out and it will give us some exercise.
That's a good point. Do you know how long it takes to get there?
It should only take us about 10 to 15 minutes to walk there. And we can always check our phones for the exact distance and time.
Sounds good to me. And do you have any specific items you need to get at the supermarket?
Yeah, I need to pick up some fresh fruits and vegetables, as well as some bread and milk.
Okay, I need to grab some eggs and some meat for dinner tonight. Do you have any suggestions for what we should make?
Well, with the fresh veggies and bread, we could make a delicious salad and some garlic bread on the side. And for the meat, we could grill some chicken or steak.
That sounds amazing. I love a good salad and garlic bread. And grilling is always a great option. Do you have any particular seasoning or marinade you like to use?
I usually like to marinate the chicken with some lemon, olive oil, and herbs like rosemary and thyme. It gives it a really nice flavor.
That sounds delicious. I've never tried using lemon in a marinade before. I'll have to give it a try. And do you have any other favorite recipes or dishes that you like to make?
Well, I really enjoy making homemade pizza. It's fun to experiment with different toppings and sauces. How about you, John?
I love making stir-fry. It's a quick and easy meal that you can customize with any veggies or protein you have on hand. Plus, it's always tasty.
That's a great idea. Stir fry is always a good option, especially when you're short on time. And it's a healthy meal too.
Definitely. And speaking of healthy, do you have any tips for eating healthy and staying active?
Well, I try to incorporate more fruits and vegetables into my diet and limit processed foods. And for staying active, I like to go for walks or runs outside and do yoga at home.
Those are some great tips. I try to do something active every day, even if it's just a quick workout at home. And I also try to meal prep on Sundays so I have healthy options throughout the week.
That's a smart idea. Meal prepping can definitely help with staying on track and eating healthy. Well, we should probably get going to the supermarket so we can start preparing our dinner. Thanks for the great conversation, John. Lesson 4, Making a Cake for the Friend's Birthday.
Hey Anna, I'm planning on making a cake for my friend's birthday, but I'm not sure how to decorate it. Do you have any ideas?
Sure, what kind of cake are you making?
I'm thinking of making a chocolate cake. It's their favorite flavor.
Great choice. For the frosting, you could make a chocolate buttercream or a ganache.
I've never made ganache before. How do you make it?
It's actually really easy. You just heat up some heavy cream and pour it over chopped chocolate. Then you stir until it's smooth and shiny.
That sounds delicious. And what about decorating it? I'm not very artistic.
No problem. You could keep it simple with some chocolate shavings or sprinkles. Or you could pipe some rosettes or swirls on top with the frosting.
Oh, I like the idea of piping some swirls. Do you have any tips for piping frosting?
Sure. Make sure your frosting is at room temperature so it's easy to work with. And use a piping bag with a star tip for a pretty design.
Okay, I'll definitely keep that in mind. And what about adding some fruit or other toppings?
That's a great idea. You could top the cake with some fresh berries or sliced fruit for a pop of color and flavor.
I like the sound of that. Do you have any favorite fruit pairings with chocolate?
I love raspberries or strawberries with chocolate. They complement each other really well. You could also try adding some chopped nuts like almonds or hazelnuts for some texture.
That sounds delicious. I'll definitely have to give that a try. And what about presentation? Do you have any tips for making the cake look beautiful?
You could use a cake stand or a nice platter to display the cake. And you can also add some fresh flowers or greens around the base for a pretty touch.
That's a great idea. I love the idea of adding some fresh flowers. Do you have any particular flowers that look good with chocolate cake?
I would recommend using flowers that are edible, like pansies or violets. They're delicate and add a nice touch of color to the cake.
Wow, I never thought about using edible flowers. That's a really unique idea. Thanks for all of the great suggestions, Anna. I feel much more confident about making and decorating this cake now.
Of course, John. Making a homemade cake is always a special and thoughtful gesture, and I'm sure your friend will love it. Good luck with the baking and decorating. Lesson 5. I don't really want to see doctor alone.
Hey Anna, are you feeling okay? You seem to be shivering a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm coming down with something. I feel really cold and achy.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Have you thought about seeing a doctor?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I don't really want to go alone.
I totally understand. I can come with you if you want. We can make an appointment at the nearby clinic.
That would be really helpful, John. Thank you for offering to come with me.
Of course, no problem. Your health is important to me. Let me look up the clinic's phone number and make an appointment for us.
Thank you so much, John. You're such a great friend.
Anytime, Anna. I'm happy to help. And while we're waiting for the appointment, is there anything I can do to make you more comfortable at home?
Actually, I could use a warm blanket and some hot tea.
Okay, I'll go grab you a blanket and make you some tea. And maybe we can watch a movie or something to keep you distracted.
That sounds perfect, John. You're always so thoughtful.
It's the least I can do. And once we get to the clinic, I'll make sure to ask the doctor any questions you might have and take notes for you.
That would be really helpful. I always feel a bit nervous at the doctor's office.
Don't worry, I'll be there with you every step of the way. And if you need anything during the appointment, just let me know.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate your support. I feel lucky to have you as a friend.
The feeling is mutual, Anna. I'm always here for you, no matter what. And I'm sure the doctor will give us some good advice on how to help you feel better.
I hope so. I'm just ready to feel like myself again. And having you by my side makes it a lot easier to deal with.
I'm glad to hear that, Anna. Let's get you feeling better soon. And in the meantime, let's focus on taking good care of you.
Lesson 6, Sports Day is coming up.
Hey Anna, have you heard that Sports Day is coming up?
Yeah, I have. I'm excited to participate in some of the events. Are you planning on joining any of the teams?
Definitely. I'm thinking about signing up for the soccer team. I've been practicing a lot lately.
That's great to hear, John. I'm actually going to be on the volleyball team. It's always been my favorite sport.
Volleyball is a lot of fun. I'm sure you'll do great. And what other events are you interested in?
I was thinking about trying out the long jump or the high jump. I used to be pretty good at those in high school.
Wow, that's impressive. I might try the long jump too, but I'm not sure about the high jump. It looks pretty challenging.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of practice and skill. But I'm sure you could do it if you put your mind to it.
Thanks for the encouragement, Anna. And have you thought about what to wear on Sports Day?
Not really. I was just planning on wearing some athletic shorts and a t-shirt. What about you?
Same here. But maybe we could get some matching shirts or something to show off our team spirit.
That's a great idea. We could even make our own shirts with some fabric paint and stencils.
That would be really fun. We could come up with a cool design and make it unique to our team.
Definitely. And speaking of teams, have you heard about the relay race? It's always a highlight of Sports Day.
Yes, I have. I was thinking of putting together a team for the relay race. Would you be interested in joining?
Absolutely. That sounds like a lot of fun. And I think we could put together a really strong team with some of our other friends.
That's a great idea. We should start recruiting people and practicing as soon as possible.
Agreed. And I think it would be a good idea to also attend some of the practice sessions organized by the school, just to get some additional training.
That's a good point. We should make sure we're well prepared for all of the events. And who knows, maybe we'll even win a trophy or two.
That would be amazing. But even if we don't win, I'm just looking forward to having a fun day with our friends.
Same here, Anna. Sports Day is always a great opportunity to bond with our classmates and show off our skills. I can't wait.
Lesson 7. Planting some flowers in garden.
Hey Anna, have you ever thought about planting some flowers in your garden?
Yeah, I have. I've been wanting to add some color and beauty to my yard.
That's a great idea. What kind of flowers do you like?
I really like roses and lilies. They're so pretty and fragrant.
Those are great choices. And do you know how to plant them?
Not really. I've never really done any gardening before.
No problem. I can help you out. First, we'll need to prepare the soil by loosening it and adding some compost or fertilizer.
Okay, that sounds easy enough. And then we just plant the flowers, right?
Yes, we'll need to dig a hole that's deep enough for the roots and then gently place the plant in the hole. We'll also need to make sure the soil is packed tightly around the roots.
Got it. And what about watering and maintenance?
You'll need to water the plants regularly, especially during the hot summer months. And you'll also need to prune them to keep them healthy and in good shape.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about pests and diseases?
You'll want to keep an eye out for any signs of pests or diseases, like yellowing leaves or holes in the leaves. If you notice any problems, you can use organic pest control methods or consult with a local nursery for advice.
That's good to know. I definitely want to use organic methods if possible. And do you have any tips for designing the garden layout?
Sure. You'll want to think about the colors and sizes of the flowers, and how they'll look next to each other. You can also add some variety by including different types of foliage and texture.
That's a great idea. I want to make sure it looks beautiful and balanced. And what about sunlight and shade?
Different plants have different sunlight and shade requirements, so you'll want to make sure you choose plants that are suited for the amount of sun or shade your garden gets.
That makes sense. I'll have to do some research and figure out which plants will work best in my garden. And do you have any favorite gardening tools that you recommend?
Definitely. A good pair of gardening gloves, a trowel, and a watering can are all essential tools for any gardener. And if you have a larger garden, a wheelbarrow can be really helpful for moving soil and plants around.
Those all sound like great tools to have. I'll make sure to pick them up before we start planting. Thanks so much for all of your help, John. I'm really excited to get started on this garden project.
Anytime, Anna. Gardening can be really rewarding and enjoyable, and I'm happy to be able to help you out. Let's make your garden beautiful.
Lesson 8. Finding a mate for the dog.
Hey Anna, have you ever considered finding a mate for your dog?
Actually, I have. I think it would be nice for her to have some companionship and maybe even have some puppies.
That's a great idea. I was actually thinking the same thing for my dog too. Have you started looking for potential mates?
Not yet. I'm not really sure where to begin.
Same here. But I heard that there are some online websites where you can find breeders and other dog owners who are also looking to mate their dogs.
That's a good idea. I'll have to do some research and see what's available in our area.
And do you have any particular breed in mind for the mate?
I was thinking of finding a mate from the same breed as my dog. She's a golden retriever, and I think it would be nice to have some purebred puppies.
That makes sense. And what about temperament and personality? Do you have any preferences for the mate?
Yes, I would definitely want to make sure that the mate has a good temperament and is healthy. It's important to find a dog that will be a good match for my dog's personality.
Absolutely. And have you thought about the logistics of the mating process? For example, will you be responsible for taking care of the puppies once they're born?
Yes, I have. I've been doing some research and I think it's important to have a plan in place for the puppies' care and finding them good homes. I would definitely want to make sure that the puppies are healthy and well cared for.
That's a responsible approach. And what about the cost of the mating process and caring for the puppies?
That's definitely something to consider. I would want to make sure that I have enough resources to cover the costs of the mating process and the puppy's care.
That's a good point. It's important to be financially prepared for all the expenses that come with the mating process and raising puppies.
Yes, definitely. And what about you, John? Have you thought about finding a mate for your dog?
Yes, I have. My dog is a Labrador Retriever, and I would want to find a mate that's also a Labrador Retriever. I think it would be nice to have some purebred puppies.
That sounds great. And what about the temperament and personality of the mate?
I would want to find a mate that's friendly and has a good temperament, just like my dog. And I would want to make sure that the mate is also healthy and well cared for.
That's important. And have you thought about where the puppies would go once they're born?
Yes, I have. I would want to make sure that the puppies go to good homes with responsible owners who will take good care of them.
That's a great plan, John. It's important to find good homes for the puppies and make sure that they're well cared for.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to be prepared for the unexpected, like complications during the mating process or unexpected expenses during the puppy's care.
Yes, that's a good point. It's always important to be prepared for any situation that may arise.
Definitely. But overall, I think finding a mate for our dogs can be a really rewarding experience for both the dogs and us as owners.
I agree. It's a way to give our dogs companionship and also bring new life into the world. I'm excited to start looking for a mate for my dog and see where this journey takes us.
Same here, Anna. Let's do our research and find the perfect mates for our furry friends.
Lesson 9, A New Neighbor.
Hey Anna, have you noticed that we have a new neighbor moving in next door?
Oh really? I didn't see anyone moving in. When did they arrive?
They just arrived this morning. I saw them unloading their furniture from the moving truck.
That's great. We should go say hello and welcome them to the neighborhood.
That's a great idea. It's always nice to make new friends in the community. Do you want to go over there with me?
Sure. I'd love to. I'll grab some cookies and we can take them over as a welcome gift.
That's a great idea. I'm sure they would appreciate the gesture. And do you have any other ideas on how to make them feel welcome?
We could also offer to help them with any moving or unpacking tasks. Moving can be stressful, so it's always nice to have some extra hands.
Yes, good point. And we can also give them some information about the neighborhood, like where to find the nearest grocery store or park.
That's a great idea. It can be helpful to have some local knowledge when you're new to an area.
Definitely. And we can also invite them to any upcoming neighborhood events, like block parties or potlucks.
That's a good idea. We have a great community here, and I'm sure they would appreciate being included in any upcoming events or gatherings.
Absolutely. And it's always nice to have new neighbors who are involved and active in the community. Shall we go over there now and introduce ourselves?
Yes, let's go. I'm excited to meet our new neighbors and make them feel welcome. And who knows, maybe we'll even make some new friends.
That's the spirit, Anna. Let's go say hi and make a great first impression.
Lesson 10, Camping Trip.
Hey Anna, I had such a great time camping with you last weekend. It was nice to get away from the city for a bit.
Yes, it was so much fun. And I'm glad we got to try out some new hiking trails and cooking recipes.
Definitely. And I'm also really happy that we met some new people on the camping trip.
Me too. It's always nice to make new friends and share experiences with others.
And speaking of new friends, did you get the contact information of that couple we met at the campsite?
Yes, I did. They seemed really nice and I would love to keep in touch with them.
That's great to hear. We should definitely plan another camping trip together and invite them to join us.
That would be awesome. I'm sure they would enjoy it, and we could also explore some new camping spots.
Yes, and maybe we could also plan some activities together, like fishing or kayaking.
That sounds like so much fun. And it's always nice to have some company when you're out in nature.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe we'll even make some more new friends on our next camping trip.
That would be great. I'm always open to meeting new people and hearing about their experiences.
Same here. And I'm really happy that we have a shared interest in camping and outdoor activities. It's a great way to bond and connect with each other.
I agree. And I'm also grateful that we were able to try out some new things on this camping trip, like cooking over a campfire.
Yes, that was so much fun. And I think it's important to keep trying new things and stepping out of our comfort zones.
Definitely. It helps us grow as individuals and also strengthens our friendship.
And I'm also glad that we were able to disconnect from technology and just enjoy the beauty of nature.
Yes, it was so refreshing to be away from our phones and computers for a while. And it helped us to be more present in the moment and appreciate the scenery around us.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to plan our next camping trip together and create more memories.
Same here, John. I'm so grateful to have you as a friend and to share these experiences with you. Lesson 11. Have you ever been to Berlin?
Hey Anna, have you ever been to Berlin?
No, I haven't. But I've always wanted to visit. It's such a historical and culturally rich city.
I completely agree. And I was actually thinking of planning a trip there next summer. Would you be interested in joining me?
Absolutely. That sounds like an amazing trip. And it would be great to have a travel buddy.
Yes, it's always more fun to travel with someone else. And I've heard that Berlin has some amazing museums and art galleries.
Yes, I've heard the same thing. And I'm also interested in exploring the city's architecture and trying out some local cuisine.
Definitely. And we can also visit some of the city's historical landmarks, like the Berlin Wall and the Brandenburg Gate.
That would be so cool. And I'm also interested in learning about the city's history, especially during World War II.
Yes, Berlin has such a rich and complex history, and there's so much to learn and explore. And have you thought about where we could stay while we're there?
Not really. I was thinking of maybe finding an Airbnb or a hostel. What about you?
Same here. I think finding a place to stay that's centrally located would be ideal, so we can easily explore the city.
That's a good point. And we should also make sure to book our flights early to get the best deals.
Yes, definitely. And we should also research the best transportation options in the city, like the subway or bus system.
That's a good idea. And have you thought about how long we should stay in Berlin?
I was thinking of maybe staying for a week, so we can really immerse ourselves in the city and explore all that it has to offer.
That sounds perfect. And we should also make a list of all the places we want to visit and things we want to do while we're there.
Yes, that's a great idea. And we should also make sure to budget for our trip, including transportation, accommodations, food, and any activities or tours we want to do.
That's a good point. It's always important to have a budget in mind and stick to it.
Definitely. And I'm really excited about this trip. It's going to be an amazing adventure and I'm glad that we can experience it together.
Same here, John. I'm looking forward to exploring Berlin with you and making some unforgettable memories. Lesson 12. The lecturer was great.
Hey Anna, what did you think of the lecturer today?
I thought he was great. He really kept the class engaged and made the material interesting.
I completely agree. He had a lot of energy and enthusiasm, which made the lecture a lot more enjoyable.
Yes, and I also liked how he used a lot of examples and real-world scenarios to illustrate the concepts he was teaching.
That's a good point. It helped to make the material more relatable and easier to understand.
Definitely. And I also appreciated how he encouraged class participation and asked for our opinions and thoughts.
Yes, it's always nice when a lecturer values student input and creates a collaborative learning environment.
Exactly. And I also liked how he was able to explain complex ideas in a way that was easy to grasp.
Yes, he definitely had a talent for breaking down complicated concepts into more manageable pieces. And I also liked how he used humor and storytelling to keep the class engaged.
Yes, that was really effective. It made the lecture feel less like a chore and more like an enjoyable experience.
Absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the lectures this semester. I think we're going to learn a lot from this class.
Me too. And I'm glad that we have a lecturer who is passionate about the subject and can make it come alive for us.
Yes, it definitely makes a difference when the lecturer is enthusiastic and knowledgeable. And I think it helps to motivate us to learn and engage with the material.
I agree. And I also appreciate how the lecturer is approachable and willing to answer questions or provide additional support outside of class.
Yes, that's a great point. It's always helpful to have a resource like that when we're studying complex concepts.
Definitely. And I think it's important to recognize when we have a great lecturer like this and appreciate the effort they put into teaching us.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to give feedback to the lecturer and let them know how much we're enjoying and learning from their lectures.
Yes, that's a good idea. It's always nice to receive positive feedback and recognition for a job well done.
Definitely. And overall, I think we're very lucky to have such a great lecturer for this class. It's going to be a fantastic semester.
I completely agree. I'm excited to see what else we'll learn and how the lecturer will continue to engage and inspire us. Lesson 13. Change the academic year from 2 semesters to 3.
Hey Anna, have you heard about the proposal to change the academic year from 2 semesters to 3?
No, I haven't. That sounds interesting. What's the rationale behind the proposal?
The idea is to offer more flexibility and options for students in terms of course load and scheduling. With 3 semesters, students can spread out their course load and have more opportunities to take courses they're interested in.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of students struggle with juggling a heavy course load each semester.
Yes, exactly. And with 3 semesters, students can also potentially graduate earlier if they choose to take more courses per year.
That's a good point. And what about the length of each semester? Would that change as well?
Yes, the proposal suggests that each semester would be shorter, around 12 to 14 weeks instead of the usual 16 weeks.
I see. And what about breaks between semesters? Would there be any changes to that?
That's still up for discussion. Some proposals suggest shorter breaks between semesters, while others suggest longer breaks to allow for more time for internships or study abroad programs.
That's interesting. And what do you think about the proposal? Do you think it would be beneficial for students?
Personally, I think it could be a good change. It would offer more flexibility and options for students, and allow them to better balance their academic workload with other commitments. But it would also depend on how the change is implemented and whether it's done in a way that's effective and efficient for everyone involved.
I agree. It could definitely be a positive change, but it would require careful planning and consideration. And it would also be important to get feedback from students and faculty to ensure that the changes meet their needs and expectations.
Yes, definitely. And it would also be interesting to see how other universities have implemented similar changes and what the outcomes have been.
That's a good point. It's always helpful to learn from the experiences of others and see what has worked well and what hasn't.
Exactly. And I think it's important to keep an open mind and be willing to adapt to changes that could potentially benefit the academic community as a whole.
I completely agree. And I think it's great that there are ongoing discussions and proposals to improve the academic experience for students and faculty alike.
Yes, it's always important to strive for continuous improvement and find ways to make the academic experience more fulfilling and rewarding for everyone involved.
Definitely. And I'm curious to see how this proposal will develop and what the final decision will be. It could be an exciting change for the university. Lesson 14. What we should have for breakfast tomorrow morning.
Hey Anna, have you thought about what we should have for breakfast tomorrow morning?
Not really. I was thinking of just having cereal or something quick and easy.
Well, how about we try something special and innovative for a change?
That sounds interesting. What did you have in mind?
I was thinking of making some homemade pancakes with fresh fruit and whipped cream on top.
That sounds delicious. Do you have a recipe in mind?
Yes, I can look up a recipe online and we can make it together. It'll be a fun activity.
I like that idea. And we can also customize the pancakes with different toppings and flavors.
Definitely. And we can also try making some homemade smoothies or juices to go along with it.
Yes, that would be a great addition. And we could also set up a nice table setting and make it a special breakfast experience.
That's a good idea. We could use some fancy plates and utensils and make it feel like we're at a fancy brunch spot.
Exactly. And we can also invite some friends over to join us and make it a fun social event.
Yes, that would be great. And we could also take some pictures and share them on social media to inspire others to try making their own special breakfasts.
I love that idea. It would be fun to see what other people come up with for their own creative breakfasts.
Definitely. And who knows, maybe we'll even start a trend of people making their own special breakfasts at home.
That would be awesome. And it would be a great way to encourage people to have fun in the kitchen and try new things.
Absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to making these pancakes tomorrow morning with you.
Me too, John. It's going to be a great way to start the day and bond over a shared interest in cooking and trying new things. Lesson 15, Learn how to sew and make clothes online.
Hey Anna, have you ever thought about learning how to make your own clothes?
Yes, I have actually. I think it would be a fun and creative hobby.
That's great. And with all the resources available online, it's easier than ever to learn how to sew and make your own clothes.
Definitely. I've been watching some tutorials on YouTube and I'm amazed at how easy it seems.
Yes, there are so many great resources out there. And you can even take online courses to learn more advanced techniques.
That's a good idea. And it could also be a way to meet other people who are interested in sewing and fashion design.
Exactly. And you could even start your own online shop and sell your creations.
That would be a dream come true. And it would be so satisfying to see people wearing clothes that I've made.
Yes, it would be a great way to turn a hobby into a business. And you could also create custom pieces for people, which would be really cool.
Definitely. And I think it would be a great way to express my creativity and make something unique and personal.
Absolutely. And it would also be a way to reduce waste and be more environmentally conscious by making your own clothes instead of buying fast fashion.
Yes, that's a good point. And it would be a way to be more mindful and intentional about the clothes we wear.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to support small businesses and independent designers who are passionate about creating sustainable and ethical fashion.
I completely agree. And learning how to make my own clothes could also help me appreciate the craftsmanship and skill that goes into creating high-quality garments.
Yes, it's definitely a valuable skill to have. And with all the resources available online, there's no limit to what you can create.
That's true. And I'm excited to get started and see where this new hobby takes me.
I'm excited for you too, Anna. And I can't wait to see what amazing creations you come up with.
Thanks, John. I'll definitely keep you posted on my progress and maybe even make something for you one day.
I would love that, Anna. And it would be an honor to wear something that you've made with your own two hands.
Lesson 16, Buying a new table and chairs for our dining room.
Hey Anna, have you thought about getting a new table and chairs for our dining room?
Actually, I have been thinking about it. Our current set is starting to look a bit worn out.
I agree. And with all the time we've been spending at home lately, it would be nice to have a comfortable and stylish dining area.
Definitely. And I've been looking at some options online. There are so many great designs to choose from.
That's true. And we could also consider getting a table that can expand for when we have guests over.
Yes, that's a good idea. And we should also consider the material and durability of the table and chairs.
That's a good point. We want something that will last for years and be able to withstand daily use.
Exactly. And we should also think about the size of the table and chairs and how they'll fit in our dining room.
Yes, we don't want something that's too big or too small. It should be proportional to the room and fit our needs.
Agreed. And we should also consider the style and color of the table and chairs. We want something that will complement our home decor.
Definitely. And we could also think about getting chairs with cushions for added comfort.
Yes, that's a good idea. And we could also consider getting a bench for one side of the table to add some variety and seating options.
That's a great idea. And we could also look for a table and chairs made from sustainable materials to be more environmentally conscious.
Yes, that's a good point. And we could also try to find a local store or maker to support small businesses.
Absolutely. And we should also set a budget for the table and chairs so we don't overspend.
Yes, that's important. And we could also look for deals or discounts to save some money.
Agreed. And once we find the perfect table and chairs, we should make sure to take care of them properly to ensure they last a long time.
Definitely. And we could also have fun decorating the table with tablecloths and placemats for special occasions.
Yes, that would be a nice touch. And it would make our dining room feel even more special and inviting.
I'm excited to start looking for the perfect table and chairs now. It will be a fun project for us to work on together.
Me too, Anna. And I can't wait to have a beautiful and comfortable dining area to enjoy our meals together.
Lesson 17, I completely forgot to buy a ticket for the big jackpot lottery.
Hey Anna, have you been having trouble with your memory lately?
Yeah, actually I have. I've been forgetting things more often than usual.
That's too bad. Is there anything specific that you've forgotten recently?
Well, I completely forgot to buy a ticket for the big jackpot lottery last week. I can't believe I missed out on that opportunity.
Oh no, that's too bad. Did you have any numbers in mind that you wanted to play?
Yeah, I had a couple of numbers that I always play. But I completely forgot to go to the store and buy a ticket.
Well, hopefully there will be another opportunity to play in the future. And in the meantime, there are other ways to boost your memory.
That's true. Do you have any tips for improving memory?
One thing that can help is to get enough sleep each night. Sleep is important for consolidating memories and helping the brain function properly.
That makes sense. I've been staying up late recently, so maybe that's contributing to my forgetfulness.
Another thing that can help is to exercise regularly. Exercise has been shown to improve memory and cognitive function.
Okay, I can try to incorporate more exercise into my routine. What else can I do?
You could also try practicing mindfulness and meditation. These practices can help improve focus and attention, which can in turn improve memory.
That's interesting. I've never tried meditation before, but I'm willing to give it a try.
And another thing you could try is to use memory aids, like writing things down or setting reminders on your phone.
That's a good idea. I've been using my phone more often to set reminders, but maybe I need to be more consistent with it.
Yes, it can be helpful to set reminders for important tasks or events, like buying a lottery ticket, so you don't forget.
Definitely. And I think it's important to be patient with myself and not get too down when I forget things.
That's a great attitude to have. And remember, everyone forgets things from time to time. It's a normal part of being human.
Thank you for the encouragement, John. I'll definitely try to implement some of these tips to improve my memory and be more mindful in my daily life.
You're welcome, Anna. And remember, we're in this together. If you ever need help or support, don't hesitate to ask.
Lesson 18, Keeping Up with Exercise Routine.
Hey Anna, have you been keeping up with your exercise routine lately?
Yeah, I've been trying to exercise more regularly. I've been going for runs in the morning and doing some yoga in the evenings.
That's great to hear. How has it been going?
It's been going well so far. I definitely feel more energized and focused throughout the day.
That's good to hear. And it's important to establish a routine when it comes to exercise.
Yes, routine helps me stay on track and makes it easier to stick to my goals.
Absolutely. And it's also important to mix things up and try different types of exercise to keep things interesting.
Yes, I've been trying to incorporate more variety into my workouts to challenge myself and prevent boredom.
That's a good approach. And it's also important to listen to your body and not push yourself too hard.
Definitely. I've been trying to be more mindful of my body's limits and adjust my workouts accordingly.
And it's also important to set realistic goals and celebrate your progress along the way.
Yes, I've been setting small goals for myself and it feels great to accomplish them and see my progress.
That's awesome. And it's also helpful to have a workout buddy or support system to keep you motivated.
Yes, I've been going for runs with a friend and it's been a great way to stay accountable and motivated.
That's great. And you could also join a fitness class or gym to meet new people who share your interests.
Yes, that's a good idea. And it could also be a way to learn new exercises and techniques.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that exercise should be enjoyable, not a chore.
Yes, I agree. That's why I've been trying to find ways to make exercise fun and enjoyable, like listening to music or podcasts while I run.
That's a good approach. And it's also important to prioritize rest and recovery to prevent burnout and injury.
Yes, rest and recovery are just as important as exercise itself. I've been trying to incorporate more stretching and foam rolling into my routine.
That's great to hear, Anna. And remember, exercise is not just about physical health, but also mental and emotional well-being.
Yes, I've definitely noticed a positive impact on my mood and overall well-being since I started exercising more regularly.
That's awesome. And I'm proud of you for making exercise a priority in your life.
Thank you, John. And I'm grateful for your support and encouragement along the way. Lesson 19, Homemade Pizza.
Hey Anna, have you ever made homemade pizza before?
Yes, I have. It's actually one of my favorite dishes to make at home.
That's great to hear. I've never made pizza from scratch before, but I've always wanted to try. Do you have any tips or suggestions?
Sure. The most important thing is to have a good dough recipe. You can easily find one online or in a cookbook.
Okay, I'll definitely look for a good recipe. And what about toppings and sauce? Do you have any suggestions for those?
I usually like to make my own tomato sauce by blending canned tomatoes, garlic, olive oil, and some herbs like basil and oregano. And for toppings, you can really use anything you like. I love using fresh veggies like bell peppers, onions, and mushrooms. And of course, some mozzarella cheese is a must.
That sounds amazing. I love all of those toppings. And do you have any tips for baking the pizza? What temperature and for how long?
You'll want to preheat your oven to around 450 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. And depending on the thickness of your crust, it should bake for around 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, that sounds doable. And what about the crust? Do you have any tips for getting a crispy crust?
One tip is to make sure your oven is nice and hot before you put the pizza in. You can also try brushing the crust with some olive oil before baking to help it crisp up.
That's a great tip. I'll definitely try that. And do you have any other variations or twists on traditional pizza that you like to make?
Yes, actually. Sometimes I like to make a white pizza, which uses a garlic and olive oil base instead of tomato sauce. And for toppings, you can use things like spinach, ricotta cheese, and caramelized onions.
Wow, that sounds delicious. I'll have to try that sometime. And do you have any favorite pizza restaurants around here?
Yeah, there's a great place downtown that makes amazing Neapolitan-style pizza. They use a wood-fired oven and all fresh, high-quality ingredients.
That sounds perfect. I'll have to check it out sometime. Well, thanks for all of the great tips, Anna. I'm definitely feeling more confident about trying to make homemade pizza now.
Of course, John. It's really not as difficult as it seems, and it's always fun to experiment with different toppings and flavors. Good luck with your pizza making. Lesson 20. Tips for email writing going for client.
Hey Anna, how's your email writing going for your client?
It's going okay, but I'm not sure if my emails are effective enough. Do you have any tips?
Definitely. First, make sure your subject line is clear and concise. It should clearly indicate the purpose or main point of the email.
That's a good point. And what about the body of the email?
The body should be organized and easy to read. Use short paragraphs and bullet points to break up the text.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And what about the tone of the email?
Make sure your tone is professional and courteous, but also friendly and approachable. Avoid using jargon or overly formal language.
That makes sense. And what about the content of the email?
The content should be relevant and focused on the recipient's needs or interests. Make sure you provide clear and concise information that answers any questions or concerns they may have.
Okay, I'll try to make sure my emails are more focused on the recipient. And what about the closing of the email?
The closing should be polite and provide a clear call to action. Let the recipient know what you would like them to do next, whether it's to reply, schedule a meeting, or take some other action.
That's helpful. And what about the signature of the email?
Your signature should include your name, title, and contact information, such as your email and phone number. This makes it easy for the recipient to contact you if they have any follow-up questions or concerns.
Okay, I'll make sure my signature is complete and easy to read. And what if I need to send attachments or links in my email?
If you need to send attachments or include links, make sure they are relevant and necessary. Also, make sure they are easy to download or access by providing clear instructions or a clickable link.
That's good advice. And what if I need to follow up on an email?
If you need to follow up on an email, make sure to do so in a timely manner. You can also use a polite and friendly tone to remind the recipient of your previous email and the action you would like them to take.
Okay, I'll remember to follow up if necessary. And what if I receive a reply that I'm not sure how to respond to?
If you receive a reply that you're not sure how to respond to, take some time to think about your response and avoid rushing into a reply. Also, don't be afraid to ask for clarification if needed.
That's helpful. Thank you for all these tips, John. I feel more confident in my ability to write effective emails for my client now.
You're welcome, Anna. And remember, practice makes perfect. Keep refining your email writing skills and you'll become an expert in no time.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel. Let's meet in our next video soon.